is an event of celestial proportion.
A once-in-a-lifetime solar eclipse passing through the heart of Indiana.
We've got you covered as we wait for totality. And good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Anne-Marie Tiernan along with Sean Ash. Oh boy, this is a big day. We are so excited. Right now, we are just a few minutes away from the solar eclipse.
This is pretty cool stuff. We've been talking about it for years. Here we go. This is something we'll only see once in our lifetime here in central Indiana. The next total solar eclipse here in Indy, not until 2153.
Yeah. We'll be long gone.
Yes.
Not even a memory to most people. The biggest question right now is the weather going to play along. So far, so good. Looks like it.
Ideal day here. Ideal day. Temperatures will be dropping, by the way. You can see we're getting close and already have dropped a couple of degrees. I suspect we'll be in the 60s during totality there, Anne-Marie.
We have you covered all across central Indiana. Chuck Lofton and Lindsay Monroe are at the Indiana State Fairgrounds to walk us through the eclipse minute by minute. Angela Buckman and Rich Nye are at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, along with NASA for the greatest spectacle in total solar eclipse viewing. Our Matt Standridge is at Butler University, where they'll be getting an up-close look through advanced telescopes. Jenny Runovich is in Franklin with one of the longest times in totality. And Karen Campbell is at Memorial Stadium in Bloomington, where an eclipse celebration is underway. And thank you so much for joining us live. We've got comprehensive coverage for you. There are tens of thousands of people gathered right now at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The light is starting to dim. They are awaiting the eclipse.
Yeah, and they're joined by some of the brightest minds. We know this coming from NASA here, and that's where our Rich Nye and Angela Buckman. We will start with Ange. Oh, the excitement builds, Angela.
Oh my gosh, it feels like race day. I see people up and down the main straightaway from turn 4 to turn 1. The stands are packed, and you're going to see Rich Nye is going to be surrounded by people as well. It's already starting to feel cooler as the sky dims, as we are now just minutes away from totality. Don't leave your seat. We've got you covered. Rich Nye.
I am standing at the world-famous Yard of Bricks at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, looking at an awe-inspiring experience at an awesome place. Welcome. This is incredible. We have some 50,000 people here. They say there are people here from 49 states, many countries, and we're just a couple of minutes away now from that totality that will last some 3 minutes and 49 seconds here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. What an awesome place to take this in. We've got NASA astronauts here. We have IndyCar drivers here. Ed Carpenter took a few laps on this track just a few minutes ago, and we're getting ready to see that totality here in just moments. Let's head out to Chuck Lofton, Lindsay Monroe at the Indiana State Fairgrounds.
Rich, it's going to be one of those moments where really nothing else matters. This is the only thing everyone is focusing on here at the State Fairgrounds, a place where Hoosiers usually gather. We have folks from all over the country.
Yeah, they're here. It feels and looks like dawn around here. The clouds are still out there, but it's the eclipse that's causing the darkness now and the cooler air. Yeah. We're talking about a bucket list trip here. Matt Standridge is at Butler talking about science. Hi, Matt.
Hey Chuck, the scientists are getting ready to study that corona right now. It's getting very dim. It's almost as if you're shutting your eyes. This is cooler than Christmas morning. We've been tracking the status. We're just about there. This is a sign just with pinholes, and you can see those crescents there. People are cheering. We've got astronomers leading us through this. Sean, what do you got?
Thank you, Matt. We're outside here. I got a bunch of my friends from the station too, as we await totality here in Indianapolis, an awe-inspiring moment on this planet. First time for me, of course, Chuck and Lindsay, they're going to give us their insight and kind of compare this to what they had in 2017. It is noticeably cooler. Just before we started to get into more of the 80-90% eclipse range, I mean, we were easily in the mid-70s, and you can certainly feel a temperature drop. Not only that, the wind is easing, something that we fully expected. And so that lack of solar radiation during the totality, which here in Indy is going to be close to about 4 minutes, already noticing the parking lights are starting to come on, and we are getting close. You can see that ring. We'll probably start to see the diamond flare here pretty shortly. So here in Indy, it's 3:06:06, and it's getting closer. And again, about 4 minutes of totality here. Hang tight, keep those glasses on outside. Hang tight. We're getting closer. And we've almost reached it. And there you go. My goodness. I don't have any words. Chuck, Lindsay, I know you guys are at the fairgrounds, so you witnessed this. You witnessed this back in 2017. This is my first time. I'm speechless, guys. I'm speechless.
Well, I think we're about ready to cry here, Sean, at the Indiana State Fairgrounds. This is a tremendous sight, and Lindsay, compared to 2017, to me, we can see it better. It is cooler. I mean, this is absolutely nighttime here now.
It's like a cold front just hit us in the face.
Right.
And what this crowd is doing, they are cheering. Mm-hmm. Everyone is so excited about this moment that we've anticipated for years here in Indianapolis.
And you know, as we get closer to totality, Lindsay, that means that there will be more planets that may be viewable in the sky. We can already see a couple of right now.
Yes, if you're looking up into this darkening sky, you potentially could see Jupiter and Mercury. Yes, and as Matt Stanbridge pointed out to us, potentially we could see a comet if we look close and it gets dark enough.
We had this kind of roar when it first happened, and now people are quiet and taking it in, because this is something that's the beauty of creation, folks, and it is an awe-inspiring event. And feel this cool air moving in, Lindsay.
We're going to take just a couple minutes here.
All right.
And we're going to let everyone just enjoy this in silence.
There we go. I got a good photo of Jupiter too. Wow, that's awesome. That is insane. I got a good photo too.
All right, Chuck, as we enter
maximum
the
totality,
3:08 minute, we are in the peak maximum totality, where the eclipse is at 100%, the maximum.
So we are in this, and notice the flares, which is just a beautiful, beautiful sight off of this right now. And Angela Buckman is currently at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And Ange, we're here with a lot of families and a lot of people from around the country. You are there with 50,000 people. What's the reaction to this incredible once-in-a-lifetime event?
The best way I can describe it is when they do start your engines on race day. There was a roar of the crowd when it started to get dark. I was curious if everyone would get quiet or what they would do, but it was this thunderous applause as it got dark. It's a little quieter now, but it is interesting to see some of the lights of the pagoda come on. And I'll tell you, it reminds me of race morning when we're all here at 4, 5, 6 in the morning before the sun even comes up. It kind of has that feel. If you've never been out at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, before the sun comes up, it is a magical experience, and I would say that's how it feels right now. And I don't know if you're taking our live pictures or not, but there are some of the lights on. And I don't know, you can hear the roar of crowd as well as we start to get out of totality. I don't want to take all the time, so I'm going to toss it over to Matt Standridge. Hey, Matt.
Hey, Angela, the diamond ring is back. The sun's coming back. Crazy that the moon was just in the right position of all of space to block the sun. Everyone is still cheering because they got to see that diamond ring. If you look off in the distance, the horizon's coming back. People are clapping. People are cheering. What a cool moment. Everyone is just looking up. How stunning is that? Sean, it's an incredible view here, and people are excited. What a show. Sean, to you.
Thanks, Matt. I'm walking back inside now. Anne-Marie, I really just don't have words. It's just unbelievable. And I know some people were like, are you guys making a big deal out of it? No, when you see it, you understand. You understand it. You know what I mean?
We're not making a big deal out of it. It is a big deal.
It is a big deal.
It's amazing. This path, 124 miles wide, going across 15 states today, from Texas to Oklahoma, Arkansas, Missouri, Tennessee, Kentucky, Illinois, until now here in Indiana. Just enjoying our last moments here, moving on then to Ohio, Michigan, Pennsylvania, New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine, before then going on to Canada. But one of the areas that had the longest time in totality here in Indiana today happened to be Franklin.
That's right, and that's where our Jenny Runovich is, and she's going to share her experience with us from down in Johnson County. Jenny?
Oh my gosh, Sean and Ann, this was really a surreal experience. Gave me chills, and that wasn't just because the temperature was going down. When it happened, just like at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, this big crowd at Youngs Creek Park in Franklin, right in front of the amphitheater, all erupted in cheers. Everybody pointing to the sky, cheering, getting excited, couldn't believe what they saw, and that was for about 4 minutes. Right here in front of me is one of the visitors to Franklin. People came from around the world. Javier, you came from Youngstown, Ohio, and you brought all your equipment. You've been planning this for how long, and why was it so important to be in the path of totality?
I have actually been planning it for 7 years, because we were down in, what was it called?
Hopkinsville, right?
Hopkinsville. So we knew that the eclipse was going to come closer to home, but I was checking the weather and looking at all the possibilities, and knowing that it was going to be a rainy season, we thought we had to travel all the way down here, because it's usually, we get the lake effect from Cleveland.
So you're a doctor by trade, but clearly science is your passion and hobby, including the eclipse. Tell me about the equipment and what you just saw and what it did for you.
Well, we have your standard, very sturdy tripod, and I'm putting this overweight. This is just to weight it down to decrease the vibrations. And this is just a Canon EOS R6 Mark II, and it has a 100 to 500 millimeter lens.
So you captured, for all of us who don't understand the lens, something big just happened.
Yes,
I saw you cheering.
Your standard kit will come with maybe a focal length of usually less than 100, usually like 28 to 70. That's your standard kit, which is a lens this big. And this one is a 500, so it amplifies it much, and I also have a 2x extender, so it gives me a focal length of 1,000.
So those are the technical terms. In 1 or 2 words, the emotion you saw it.
It's indescribable, because it was so long that I had actually time to take pictures, look around, and actually enjoy it.
Well, we all did, and thank you for sharing that experience with us as well.
Thank you.
It has been so exciting here, and I know that's been the case all through the path of totality. Sean and Ann.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been watching the coverage from NBC from, South Texas, going through Dallas, Fort Worth area, now coming up here. And Jenny, we can see that the sun is back there. It's nice and warm. And Sean, boy, the weather really held out for us today.
Yeah, we knew there was going to be some high clouds.
Yeah.
Sometimes we didn't know how thick they were going to be, but it worked out perfectly here for us. And we needed that 4 minutes. We got it.
Yay. Yeah, we're so happy about that. We want to take them live pictures and show you outside right now, because we have much more in our Eclipse special ahead.
Yeah, we're heading down to Bloomington, the Hoosier Cosmic Celebration.
Yes, that's where we have Karen Campbell next.
Well, thousands of people gathered to watch the eclipse at Memorial Stadium in Bloomington.
That's right, and that's where our Karen Campbell joins us now live. They're having this big event that they're calling the Hoosier Cosmic Celebration. It's a ticketed event, and it looks like the people turned out, Karen.
Yeah, hey, Ann and John, yeah, the people, they really, like you said, turned out for this event because this is perhaps for a lot of these people a once-in-a-lifetime event, and I have to say that this eclipse, I am so happy I got to experience this in my lifetime. It was perhaps the most beautiful, coolest thing I've ever seen, and as well as all of these people that came out to Memorial Stadium to witness. As you can see, you know, the crowd is here. They are waiting for singer Janelle Monáe to take the stage. This event goes until 5 o'clock today, but before the eclipse happened, before the cheers and the oohs and ahs, we heard from Captain Kirk. That's right, we heard from William Shatner. Now, he gave one of the most amazing spoken word performances. He entitled it Welcoming the Darkness, and IU professor Dominic Diorio wrote the original music and conducted today's performance. Take a listen to a little bit of William Shatner's spoken word performance.
The moon is going to block the view of the sun to a small group of people on Earth, and we're among the lucky ones. What we are witnessing this afternoon is so filled with mystery and awe and chance, maybe divine intervention.
Yeah, just listening to William Shatner, that was just a beautiful, touching experience for a lot of people here. Again, it's called Welcoming the Darkness, and he just made this experience even better for so many people that came out here today to Memorial Stadium. As I mentioned before, Janelle Monáe is about to take the stage. We also heard from Dr. Mae Jemison. She was the first black astronaut in space. She was also here talking to the crowd today. So Ann and Sean, we're going to send it back to you because I know there's so many more different areas of Central Indiana that we want to cover and talk about this eclipse experience today.
Yes, we got a wide path here through Indiana that had a great total solar eclipse. Karen, thanks for joining us live. We'll check back later. It's always great to see William Shatner.
Absolutely.
You know, he's a big draw. All right, well, another big watch party that's taking place is here at the Indiana State Fairgrounds.
Yeah, a couple of eclipse veterans, if you will. Chuck Lofton, Lindsay Monroe, they've been out there all day long. Oh my goodness, guys. It was taking those sunglasses, taking the glasses off and seeing it for the first time is something I'll never forget.
Oh, and I'm so glad that you got to experience that and run off the set to get back, Sean. We're especially happy for you in that regard.
Yeah.
But what a time. I don't think most people will ever forget this, Lindsay.
And we like to talk about the science behind it and how much that we could possibly learn from such rare events like today, and how important it is for there to be instruments in place to take measurements and get that data for the future.
Because you have such a short period of time. And a school from Eminence High School, the Eminence Eels, are graduating a class of 27. But they are part of today a major scientific study. You may remember a few weeks ago I profiled these kids as they were preparing for a National Science Foundation experiment called Citizen Kane 2024, where they actually measure what's going on in corona, or the atmosphere of the sun. They were at Eastern Green today at an elementary school getting all of their statistics and videotaping through this camera. And by the way, that camera they get to keep at the school forever, and the filter's about $10,000 worth.
It's expensive, right?
That's expensive.
And we met some amateur astronomers here who had built their own equipment that they were able to use today.
Yeah, Jimmy Steele, who is the program director at 107.9 and does the afternoons, he was out here showing people, because he's also an astronomer.
He is an astronomer.
He's a real astronomer, what was going on. A lot of people are beginning to leave now. About half want to wait till 4:23, but some are leaving now.
That's right. Yeah, we got a lot of time. We have about an hour until this thing completely comes to an end. We know that the traffic's going to pick up around the state fairgrounds, but we also know IMS was a very popular place, so that's where we find Angela Buckman.
Chuck and Lindsay, thousands of people got to watch this total solar eclipse on the track at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And one of the some 50,000 people here today was Governor Eric Holcomb. And I talked to him about events like this really bringing people together.
solidarity, and it's out of our control. It's inspirational. It's goosebumps cool. And that's something we just need more of, and to just understand we're all in this together, we're all going to experience this together, and we're all going to talk about I was in Indy, or maybe Richmond, or Evansville, Bloomington in 2024 on April 8th, and it's just an experience like no other.
And I also put the governor on the spot about the big basketball game later today. It's a 9:20 tip, our Boilermakers taking on UConn. And I said, okay, give me a score, Governor. And he said 83-79 Purdue. Indianapolis Motor Speedway is just one of 3 NASA sites for the Great American Eclipse. And we're going to show you some of the live pictures, live feed coming to us from NASA as our coverage continues right after this.
And there it is. This is a time lapse of the total solar eclipse as it passed over Indianapolis just moments ago, and thank goodness that the weather cooperated today. We just had a little bit of thin cirrus clouds every now and then, but I think in temperature perspective and cloud cover perspective, it was ideal.
Yeah, it was really interesting to watch that, and it was like a little bit like a Pac-Man kind of eating away there at the sun there.
Yeah, and then seeing the diamond ring before and right after totality was pretty cool. Yeah.
There were tens of thousands of people that came together to enjoy the eclipse out at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and also out there at that place that is iconic for Indianapolis, the symbol of Indianapolis, were scientists and astronauts that came here from NASA.
Yeah, Rich Nye's there with more on the cool things. And Rich, you mentioned it. It almost kind of felt like a race day morning, didn't it, for a little bit?
Not race day, but space day at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It was awesome to stand on the yard of bricks and experience that almost 4 minutes of darkness, looking up and seeing the corona. Very cool. And who experienced it with me was Dr. Janine Fisher, a NASA program scientist. What was that like for you?
It was amazing. It was my first total eclipse. It was very emotional. I was tearing up. I loved it.
But you're here to do some work as well.
Yes.
What are you observing during the eclipse today?
Yes, part of the reason we were here today is working with the NASA EASY mission. We have magnetometer here, and I'm pointing at it right here.
Go ahead.
But so the NASA EASY mission, in partnership with Johns Hopkins University Applied Physics Laboratory, we working with these magnetometers. Let me open it up here for you. It's a small little device there. It's measuring Earth's magnetic field. And typically it might be sort of a constant measurement. During the eclipse, we wanted to see how the magnetic field varies. And so we're going to be analyzing the data. And what we expect to see is a small dip in the magnetic field strength. And then what we do with this data is it helps inform our predictions, our models, so we can better forecast space weather and understand how variations on the sun can impact what we, technology here on Earth. For example, GPS, cell phones, electric power grid, and even bird migration.
So did you get a glimpse of the data yet to see what happened?
Yeah, the eclipse the totality just ended. We started to take a look. We saw a small dip, but no, because I'm joining you right now to share the exciting news. So we'll be taking a look at it, and we also have several magnetometers also across the U.S., so we'll be examining that data as well.
So your first total solar eclipse, when's the next one, and are you going to be there?
Well, that's another 20-something years. I hope to be there, so I haven't made my travel plans yet.
Well, it was a great place to watch it here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We're grateful to have NASA as a part of this today. Thanks for joining us.
Great, thank you so much for being here.
All right, let's take it to Sean Ash.
Well, after today's total solar eclipse, the next notable one will be in Greenland, Iceland, and Spain in 2026, and that will be followed up by Northern Africa and the Saudi Peninsula the following year in 2027. Then comes Australia and New Zealand in 2028, followed by Africa and Australia in 2030. Here in the U.S., we won't see another total solar eclipse until August of 2044, and that's going to go through Greenland, Canada, Montana, and North Dakota. And then the following year, much more of North America covered, at least in the U.S., and that's going to go from California to Florida. Well, still ahead, we'll get a check of traffic. Tens of thousands going to start heading home. You see this as we look over the track there.
That's right. And also, we're going to be talking one-on-one with NBC Nightly News' Lester Holt, who is broadcasting live from IMS today and tonight. Our live coverage continues this afternoon at 3:34. What you're looking at here is live I-65 at State Road 28. The main highway moving quite well. Different story on the ramps.
Yeah, and the ramps. And this was kind of the unknown to a lot of the emergency managers, just how gridlocked we would get here. And they kept warning that it may take, for a small space, it may take some extra time, especially after the eclipse is over.
That's right. And now that totality is ended, what about traffic in some other places? Police have really been warning about having a plan for weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. Lauren Kostick at the Indiana State Police Post. They're closely monitoring this post-eclipse traffic. Lauren with the latest.
And Sean, that's right. We're here kind of getting a bird's eye view of everything that is happening. We know, like you said, this is going to be the biggest challenge as we get into this afternoon once that partial totality is over. And the good news right now is that we're not seeing any major issues. So to give you some perspective, we have all the cameras right here at NDOT headquarters. So we have I-65 and County Line Road. Things are moving well, both directions. We also have 465 here, Ditch Road. Also, again, same thing, moving great. So that's the good news. Another interesting thing we saw during the eclipse, especially before and even after now, is the number of people that are stopping at rest areas. This is over here in Greenfield on I-70. Still some people lingering there, but the good thing is they stopped there instead of the side of the road. And state police said at some points, some of these rest stops were almost to capacity and they almost have to shut them down. But we are seeing a lot of those people now leave, get back on I-70, and state police put it best. They said it's kind of like mini Indy 500s that are letting out all over the state right now. So we're going to be seeing a lot of that in the afternoon and keeping an eye here. And we know someone else that is also staying put and also going to be staying late is Matt. He's over at Butler University. How's it looking over there, Matt?
Hey, Lauren, a lot of folks are taking a lot of the officials' warnings and advice, and they're still sticking around a little bit. It might also just because they just saw totality, which is an incredible experience. We've had chills and tears. And here's the thing. We knew it was coming, and we know the science behind it. So for us, it was just really cool to see so much excitement, so much just looking forward to this moment of 3 or 4 minutes of totality. But if you can think back to a couple hundred years ago or a few hundred years ago, before we even knew our placement in the solar system, we thought the Earth was the center of the solar system. When we got a total solar eclipse, it sometimes didn't bring awe, but it brought fear. Listen to what we heard about what the ancient Chinese thought a total solar eclipse took place over mainland China.
For instance, the Chinese thought it was a dragon eating the sun, and we had beat drums and things like that to scare it away, and it worked. The sun came back out a few minutes later.
We didn't need any drums today. The sun was able to continue on its way. The moon was able to move. So that's some good news. But it seemed to them like it worked. That was Brian Murphy. He is the director of astronomy and the director of the Holt Observatory here at Butler. But we also talked to a solar eclipse author. His name is Brian Brewer. He kind of wrote the guide book on solar eclipses. He's seen 6 of them himself, and he did some research on other civilizations. For example, we've had armies battling several hundreds of years ago during a total solar eclipse. Hear what he had to say.
585 BC, there were 2 Middle Eastern armies, the Lydians and the Medes, who were at war, and right in the middle of a battle, they were right in the path of totality. Moon covers up the sun goes away. They took that as a sign, and they made peace on the spot.
And it makes sense, right? Because all of us here just stood in awe, and we just had to look. So the war stopped, the army stopped. In fact, they signed that peace treaty, and then the sons and daughters from both kingdoms were married on the spot as well, just because they thought, okay, we should stop fighting. So really cool events where total solar eclipses changed history. And for us, it kind of changed how we feel right now. It feels amazing that we've just seen totality. I'm going to send it over to Angela. She had an awesome view of totality over at IMS. Angela, what do you got?
It was an awesome view. The roar of the crowd as Totality began, and obviously Central Indiana, the place to be for the Great American Eclipse. NBC National News has quite the contingent here, and our coverage will continue through our 4, our 5, our 6, and then Lester Holt will be anchoring nightly news here from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway at 6:30, and our Sam Johnson caught up with him a little earlier today.
We talked about 50,000 people here at IMS today, of course, to take in this spectacle, and one of them, our very own Lester Holt. He was here with us, part of our coverage today. What a special moment to have all these people coming together to witness this once-in-a-lifetime event.
It really is. I've never been to the Indy 500, the race. I understand this has some of the spirit of race day. I mean, people have been pouring in all day. She said I think they're looking for 50,000 or more, and I think some of them are going to get to go down here where we are, which will be fun. One of the things I'm very excited about today is not only whatever my own reaction may be to watching the total eclipse, but watching the people around me to see how it affects them. I've heard folks who have seen these things describe, their feelings, so I'm anxious to hopefully during that that moment of totality to shut my mouth for a few moments and kind of let it all soak in.
Yeah, and we have so many experts here today, especially from NASA, right, to help us with this event. You've done so many stories with NASA. Some of them tell this is their Super Bowl. They are so excited for today.
Yeah, I mean, there's some science going on that they've talked about, but it's also a moment to attract people to science. So maybe they're thinking maybe these race fans can become space fans. And anything that gets kids interested in some of the STEM type courses and science and technology and that sort of thing, I think is probably a good thing. And I think a lot of schools and people recognize this as an opportunity to really create an interest in what's around us.
Lester Holt making the trip to Indianapolis to be part of the event here at IMS. Our coverage continues here on 13 News. We'll see you soon.
Race fans and space fans, I love it. We've got them here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and if you look down the straightaway, Chauncey, if we could go to turn 1, there's turn 1, and let's go to turn 4 real quick. So spin around, there we go. All of these folks getting a chance to walk the famous oval here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Don't go anywhere. Our coverage of the Great American Eclipse continues after this.
Continues at this hour.
Yeah, thousands of people gathered in Franklin to experience one of the longest times in totality.
And one of the people there was Jenny Runovich. She was part of the excitement. Hey, Jenny.
Hey guys, this was such a cool place to watch the eclipse. We had 4 minutes of totality, and the atmosphere was great too. We have music, there are food trucks, it's a real festival-like atmosphere. As you can see though, this big amphitheater area, this park-like area, a lot of it's cleared out right after the eclipse. A lot of people said, you know what, I'm going to try and get on the road and get home. And people traveled here from all across the country, including Joyce, who came from Maryland to Franklin. Joyce, tell me why you came this way, and was it worth it? What was it like?
Oh, well, you had to come here to see the totality. 4 minutes in totality. It was awesome. Some once-in-a-lifetime experience. And, you know, I can't even say enough. Like, it's something you have to see.
It really was fun.
It was amazing.
It was amazing. And I'll tell you, when it happened, this entire place erupted in cheers. It was a hush and then an eruption. It was really, really great. So, Sean and Ann, we'll send it back to you. Hopefully everyone coming here, or actually we'll send it to Karen down in Bloomington. Hopefully the travelers in Bloomington have an easy time as well. Karen?
Yeah, hey Jenny, you know, Janelle Monáe is taken to the stage right now. I am joined by a family who came to Memorial Stadium here at IU Bloomington from Corydon. So, Debbie, Danielle, Ruth and Charlotte. There we go. So what did you all think? What was the best part of this eclipse?
I think it was awesome when we could see the planets and we could take off our glasses, and it was just really dark and amazing. It was really worth the drive. Like, we came around Louisville, so it was amazing.
So, in the performances, what was the best about the performances today?
Awesome! It is spectacular. There's a lot of energy, and it's just fun to be around this many people excited. So.
Yeah, definitely a lot of energy going on here at IU Memorial Stadium. The party continues until 5 o'clock, and I'll send it back to you.
All right, thanks so much, Karen. So exciting, and we're going to keep an eye on the traffic as people have been at these events, and now they start to head home as our live coverage continues right after this.
Welcome back, everybody. We are here at the Indiana State Fairgrounds. Lindsay Monroe, Chuck Lofton. It's been a long day. It's time to relax and enjoy it.
We had a conference call at 2:30 this morning, but wow, we're exhausted, but what a great exhaustion. What
So
a wonderful
worth
day.
I think that's what a lot of folks are saying. You know, I don't usually take off work. I decided to do that. No regrets. It was a once-in-a-lifetime experience.
And a couple of post-totality notes. It's starting to warm back up again, but it is still cool compared to what it was. And I think also with most of the people trying to beat the traffic, we have a short amount of people.
They cleared out. We talked to a lot of people from Chicago area and Kentucky, and you can really see 65 northbound getting busy, 65 southbound down toward Louisville getting busy as well. So they got out of here.
Well, we hope that you had a great time. I know the folks here at the State Fairgrounds did, and let's do it again.
That's right. We can't wait, but we still want to see what's going on across central Indiana, so we'll send it back to the Motor Speedway with Angela and Rich.
Chuck and Lindsay, it's been an amazing experience here at IMS.
Absolutely, Angela. I think of Indianapolis hosting big events so well. Of course, the biggest event every year is the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, biggest spectator event for sports in the world. And today we had maybe 50,000 or more here to experience this place in a whole different way. But the awe and the wonder and the cheers were just as loud as if it was a race day. When we went to Totality and when we came out of Totality, that was the biggest thing to me, was how quickly it happened in and out.
Yes, and a big event. Almost 4 minutes of Totality, but we had experts from NASA, from Purdue, scientists and astronauts,
race car drivers,
all kind of converging here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The fans here, if they weren't race fans, are now. They were treated to kind of a test lap, or what do you call that?
A qualifying run
lap
for Ed Carpenter.
Yes. So our coverage obviously is going to continue. Don't go anywhere. We do want to get one more check of traffic, though, with Lauren Kostick. Hey, Lauren.
Hey, Angela, that's right. We're kind of getting a bird's eye view of the interstates all across Indiana. We're here. You can see this is Greenfield Rest Stop. This was packed during the eclipse. Now a lot of those people getting on the roads, heading home. And take a look at this. This is 465 and Michigan Road. You can see a lot of the traffic starting to build up there. A lot of those folks probably heading back north, going on 65 to get to Chicago. So we expect to see a lot more of this around Indiana, and we're going to keep an eye on this. Best advice: stay put and leave late. But if you haven't, make sure you got a lot of patience when you get on those roads. And
Yes.
Sean?
All right, some good advice there. Thanks for that live look, Lauren Kostick. Our live coverage continues as we look live at White River State Park. We had a large gathering there. We'll be right back. 3:56 on this Monday. Thank you for joining us for this once-in-a-lifetime event. We certainly enjoyed being able to share these key moments with you.
It was something else. 13 News at 4 is up next. We want to leave you with a look at some of the best moments from today's total solar eclipse.